She was the poor janitor everyone ignored, until the billionaire CEO got trapped alone in an elevator. What happened next will leave you speechless. Stay tuned because you are about to watch a beautiful story and find out what happened next. Hello, family. Welcome to Tales Haven. Kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel for more beautiful stories. Thank you as you do so. Sit back, relax as we dive into the story. Emma Blake arrived at Jackson Tower before the sun touched the sky. The streets were still half asleep, but she was already pushing her old cleaning cart through the automatic glass doors. Her uniform, washed too many times, hung loosely on her small frame. Her shoes made soft sounds on the polished floor, a floor she scrubbed every day, yet was never praised for. She paused in the lobby and took a slow breath. This place was beautiful, marble floors, golden lights, tall glass windows. But none of it belonged to her. She whispered a prayer under her breath. Lord, help me get through today. Help me make enough for Mom's medicine. Her mother battled a heart condition, and Emma sent almost all her salary home. That was why she never complained about the insults. She needed this job. She had no choice. Emma bent down and started cleaning the base of the front desk. As she scrubbed, a receptionist walked past and lifted her foot in annoyance. Can you move faster, Emma? I'm almost stepping on your mop. Sorry, Emma whispered, sliding her bucket away. Minutes later, a group of office workers entered the lobby. They laughed loudly, carrying expensive coffee cups, perfumes filling the air. One woman pointed at Emma and said loudly, "She's still wearing that same uniform? Does she ever get a new one?" Another man snorted. "Why bother? She's a janitor. Nobody looks at them." Emma bent her head. She didn't respond. She never did. She whispered to herself, "They don't know your story. It's okay." But inside it hurt. It always hurt. When she moved to mop the hallway, her supervisor, a short man with a sharp voice, approached her. "Emma, don't stand near the main entrance today," he barked. "The CEO might visit. You will make the place look untidy. Stay out of sight." Her chest tightened. Not even her work was enough. Even her presence was a problem. "Yes, sir," she replied quietly. She walked away, pushing her cart slowly. Her eyes stung. She wasn't lazy. She wasn't stupid. She wasn't dirty. She was just poor. And in this building, poor meant invisible. By mid-morning, she was cleaning the walls of the 23rd floor. Her rag moved in small circles as she hummed softly. Humming helped the pain feel smaller. Then she heard hurried footsteps behind her. "Move, Emma," a secretary snapped. "The CEO's coming up soon. Don't let him see you." Emma stepped aside immediately. She had seen Daniel Hartman only once from a distance. He never looked at the janitorial staff. He hardly looked at anyone who wasn't in a suit. People said he was powerful, sharp, focused, cold. Emma didn't dislike him. She was simply scared of people who carried too much power. Power usually did not bring kindness. She finished cleaning the hallway and wheeled her cart back toward the elevator. She pressed the button and waited. The doors opened, and they were empty. She stepped aside, letting it close again, thinking of her mother's voice message. "Emma, are you eating? Don't starve yourself for me." She smiled sadly. She was starving herself. But her mother didn't need to know that. She was about to turn around when she heard a voice echo faintly from behind the elevator doors. "Hello? Is someone out there?" Emma froze. That wasn't a normal voice. That was fear. She pressed her ear closer. "Hello?" The elevator stopped. "I'm stuck in here." Her body tightened. That voice. She knew that voice. It was Daniel Hartman, the billionaire CEO. The man everyone admired and feared. The man who didn't know she existed. Emma swallowed hard. Her heart pounded. There was no one else around. No supervisor. No security. No maintenance staff. Nobody. Just her. "Sir," she called softly. "I can't hear you." Daniel breathed out sharply. "Oh, thank God someone is there. Please, help me." Emma looked around again, panicked. I'll try, sir. Just stay calm." "Please don't go," Daniel said, his voice lower now, more vulnerable. Just stay there. Emma nodded, even though he couldn't see her. I won't leave you. Her hands trembled as she touched the metal doors. The elevator panel was blinking red. Her heart raced. She was not an engineer. She was not trained for this. But she remembered something. A memory. Her father's hands fixing old machines in their small house. His voice sang, "When a door won't open, there's always a small trick." Emma wiped her tears with her sleeve, opened the side panel, and took out a long metal rod from her cleaning cart. Daniel spoke again, voice shaky. "What's happening out there?" "I'm working on it," Emma said softly. "Just breathe, sir." Her voice was calm. She did not know how, but she sounded calm. Inside, Daniel inhaled deeply, trusting her voice more than he expected. I'm trying," he said. Emma inserted the rod. Twisted. Lifted. Her arms burned. Her fingers hurt. Her heart pounded. But she didn't stop. She refused to leave him trapped, not even if she was nobody. Not even if she was poor. Not even if the whole building laughed at her. She pushed harder. Something clicked. Something moved. Daniel shouted. Emma pressed her body against the door, pulling with everything she had. Her breath shook. Her arms trembled. Her knees weakened. But she kept pulling. Until the elevator door cracked open. Emma gasped. Daniel pushed from inside. Together, the gap slowly widened. In one loud groan of metal, the door slid open completely. Daniel stepped out, breathing heavily, his face pale, his suit slightly out of place, his eyes confused and shaken. Emma stumbled back, wiping sweat from her forehead. She didn't know what to do. She didn't know if he would yell at her. She didn't know if she did something wrong. But Daniel did not yell. He stared at her. Stared like he had never seen her before. Stared like he suddenly understood something important. "You," he whispered. "You saved me." Emma looked down nervously. I didn't want you to be scared, sir." Daniel's expression softened. For the first time in his life, the billionaire CEO realized something. The nobody they all ignored was the only person who stepped forward when everyone else ran. And in that moment, Daniel Hartman saw Emma Blake clearly, not as a poor janitor, but as the bravest soul in the entire building. For a few long seconds, no one spoke. Daniel stood just outside the elevator, one hand on the wall to steady himself, breathing slowly, trying to calm the pounding in his chest. Emma stood a few steps away, still holding the metal rod, her shoulders rising and falling with each heavy breath. A small line of sweat ran down the side of her face. Her uniform sleeve was slightly torn at the wrist. The building was quiet on that floor. It felt like the world had stopped for both of them. Daniel straightened his suit jacket out of habit, even though his hands still shook a little. Then his eyes went back to her. She lowered her gaze, afraid to meet his eyes. "Are you okay, sir?" she asked softly. Daniel was surprised by the question. He was the billionaire. He was the powerful one. He should be the one checking on her. But here she was, tired and shaking, still worried about him. I will be," he replied truthfully. His voice was calmer now. "Thanks to you." Emma tried to smile, but it came out weak and shy. "I'm glad the door opened," she said quietly. "I was really scared it wouldn't." He looked at the tool in her hand, then at the open panel beside the elevator. "How did you even know what to do?" he asked. Emma glanced at the metal rod and then at her hands. "My father used to fix broken machines," she said slowly. "Fans, old TVs, doors that wouldn't close. I used to watch him." "Was he an engineer?" Daniel asked. She shook her head. "No. Just a simple man who liked to fix things. We didn't have money to call professionals, so he became one for our house." A tiny, sad smile crossed her lips. "He taught me to never run away from a problem, even if it looks too big." Daniel felt something heavy press on his chest. Her father was gone. She had his courage now. And that courage had just saved him. He took a step closer. Emma instinctively moved her cart half an inch away, as if to give him space, as if she herself wasn't allowed too close. "What's your name?" he asked gently. "Emma, sir." "Emma Blake." He repeated it silently in his mind. Emma Blake. He realized, with a small sting of shame, that he had walked past her so many times and never asked. Not once. He cleared his throat. Well, Emma Blake, I owe you. You don't owe me anything, sir, she replied quickly. I was just here. Anyone else would have done it. He looked at the empty hallway and raised an eyebrow. Anyone else? He repeated. Funny. I don't see anyone else here. Her lips parted slightly, but she didn't answer. The truth sat quietly between them. She had stepped forward. Everyone else had backed away. Daniel glanced at her uniform. It was clean but faded. Her shoes were cracked at the edges. The tired lines around her eyes looked too deep for someone her age. How long have you worked here? He asked. Almost 2 years, sir, she said. I work the early shift. And in 2 years, he thought bitterly, I never once noticed her. He remembered a day months back when he had walked through the lobby with his assistant. He'd been annoyed about something and had said, Why are there cleaning staff in the lobby at this hour? It doesn't look professional. He hadn't looked at her face that day. He hadn't thought of how those words might land on someone's heart. Now, standing in front of the woman who pulled open the elevator door with her bare hands, the memory tasted bitter. Emma, he said quietly, did I ever speak rudely about your work? She hesitated. Her fingers tightened around the metal rod. You spoke strongly about not wanting janitors near the lobby when you came in, she admitted softly. She didn't say it with anger, only honesty. But it's okay, sir. People say worse things. I'm used to it. Her voice broke slightly on the last part. That hurt more than any accusation. You shouldn't be used to it, Daniel said, his jaw tightening. No one should be used to being treated like they're less than human. She blinked, surprised by the emotion in his voice. I'm sorry, he added simply. The words were small, but they were real. He wasn't saying them like a CEO managing a complaint. He was saying them like a man who saw his own mistake. Emma shook her head quickly. No, sir, please. You don't have to apologize to me. You're the boss. I'm just. Don't say just a janitor, he cut in gently. She fell silent. He took another breath, trying to steady his thoughts. Emma, I want to talk to you properly, he said. Not in the hallway. Will you come with me to my office? Her eyes widened. To your office? She asked, as if he'd suggested taking her to the moon. Yes, he said. If you're not too busy. She glanced at her cleaning cart. I still have to finish the 23rd floor and the stairway, she said slowly, but I can ask my supervisor if. I'll handle your supervisor, Daniel replied. You saved my life. The least I can do is borrow you from the mops for a few minutes. A tiny laugh escaped her lips. It surprised both of them. He smiled faintly. Come on, he said, gesturing toward the hallway. Walk with me. She hesitated for half a second, then nodded and started pushing her cart beside him. As they walked, something strange happened. People stared. Staff at their desks stopped typing. A manager almost dropped his coffee cup. 2 receptionists exchanged wide-eyed looks. The CEO of the entire company was walking down the hallway side by side with the woman who cleaned the floor. One person whispered, What is she doing with him? Another said, Maybe she did something wrong. A third mumbled, Or maybe she's finally being fired. Good. She's too slow with the mop. Daniel heard some of the comments. He watched the way Emma lowered her head a little, as if she wanted to disappear into the floor she had cleaned. Something boiled quietly inside him. Not at her. At them. At himself. They reached the door leading to the executive elevators that went up to the top floor, his floor. Emma stopped. I can't go there, sir, she said. I'm not allowed to use that elevator. Only you and the executives. I'm the one who made that rule, he said calmly. And right now, I'm changing it. He pressed the button. The private elevator opened with a soft sound. Emma stood frozen at the entrance. Her heart thumped loudly in her chest. She had seen this elevator from afar, every day. She had never imagined standing in front of it, much less being invited inside. Daniel stepped in, then turned and looked at her. Emma, he said gently, you opened a door for me. Let me open at least this one for you. Her throat tightened. Slowly, Almost as if she were stepping into a dream, she walked into the elevator. The same kind of elevator that had trapped him, the same kind of elevator she had just freed him from. The doors closed. Inside, it was quiet. Soft music played. The floor was spotless, untouched by dirty shoes or cleaning buckets. Emma stood near the corner, hands folded, trying to look smaller. "You don't have to be afraid," Daniel said softly. "I'm not afraid," she replied. "I just don't want to cause any trouble." "You haven't caused trouble," he answered. "You solved it." The elevator moved smoothly upwards, the complete opposite of his earlier nightmare. Daniel watched the floor numbers climb, then shifted his gaze back to her. "Emma," he asked, his voice low and sincere, "will you tell me about yourself? Not as my employee, just as you." She looked at him, truly looked, for the first time. She saw not just the billionaire in a suit. She saw a man who had been scared in a dark box. A man who had called for help. A man who now wanted to listen. She took a small breath and nodded. "Yes, sir," she said. "I can tell you." "Call me Daniel," he said quietly. Her lips parted in surprise. "Okay," she whispered. "Daniel." The elevator chimed, and the doors opened to the top floor. As they stepped out, Emma had no idea that this simple walk, this unexpected conversation, and this moment of being seen would be the beginning of something that would turn her whole life around and shake the entire building more than any stuck elevator ever could. Daniel's private office was nothing like what Emma expected. It wasn't loud with expensive decorations. It wasn't filled with gold or marble. It felt quiet. Calm. Almost lonely. There were large windows that showed the entire city, a long glass table, and a single plant in the corner. Everything was neat, clean, and lifeless, like a room made only for work, not for living. Daniel walked to his desk and gently placed his phone down. Emma stood by the door, unsure if she should move. "You can come closer," he said, noticing her hesitation. She stepped forward slowly, careful not to disturb anything. Her hands stayed neatly clasped in front of her. "Please sit," Daniel said, pulling out a chair for her. She froze again. "No, sir, I can't." "Emma," he said softly, "you helped me when I was completely helpless. The least I can do is offer you a chair." She looked at the chair, then at him, then finally sat down, her back straight like a child sitting in a principal's office. Daniel took a seat opposite her and studied her more closely than he ever had. Her hands were small but strong, her eyes tired but warm, her posture respectful but nervous. This was the woman everyone ignored? This gentle, brave soul? He couldn't understand how he had walked past her so many times without truly seeing her. "Are you sure you're okay?" she asked suddenly, breaking the silence. He blinked. She was still thinking about him. "Yes," he replied. "Just a bit shaken. Elevators shouldn't be that quiet. Or that dark." Emma nodded. "I could hear it in your voice," she said softly. "You sounded scared." He almost laughed, but it came out as a sigh. "Terrified," he admitted. "I didn't want anyone to know, but in that moment, I thought the elevator was going to fall. And there was nothing I could do." Emma lowered her eyes. "I'm glad I was close by." "So am I," he said sincerely. Another silence. Not an awkward one. Just full. Full of things neither of them had words for yet. Daniel leaned forward slightly. "Emma, I've been thinking." She looked up. "About what, sir?" "Daniel," he corrected gently. "About what?" "Daniel," she repeated softly. He exhaled. "I want to understand you. I want to know more about your life, not just your job title. When I brought you here, it wasn't only to say thank you." He paused. "It's because I feel like I judged someone I didn't even know." Emma shifted uncomfortably. "You didn't judge me, sir." He raised a hand. "Emma, I judged you the moment I said janitors shouldn't be seen in the lobby. I judged you the moment I looked through you instead of at you." Her throat tightened. "I didn't take it personally," she whispered. "But I did," Daniel said quietly. "I took it personally today. When you opened those elevator doors, and I realized the person I looked down on was the only person brave enough to help me." Emma blinked quickly, trying to hold back tears. She never expected a billionaire to say such words. Not to her. Daniel continued, voice softer. Tell me about your mother. She looked up sharply. How do you know? You mentioned her earlier, he said. I could hear the worry in your voice. Is she sick? Emma took a shaky breath. Yes. She has a heart condition. Medicine is expensive. I'm the only one supporting her. Daniel nodded slowly. Do you live with her? No, Emma said. She lives back in my hometown. I send money every week. I want to bring her to the city for better treatment, but she looked down. I can't afford it. Her voice cracked. For a moment, she forgot she was in the CEO's office. She forgot she was supposed to stay strong. For one moment, she was just a daughter who missed her mother. Daniel watched her closely, not with pity, but with concern. He had seen employees cry in his office before, usually because they were being disciplined or fired. Those tears never touched him, but Emma's tears felt different. Real. Human. Emma, he said softly, you shouldn't carry this weight alone. She shook her head quickly. I don't need help. Really. I don't want anyone thinking I saved you for money. I'm not that kind of person. I know you're not, Daniel said. He spoke with a steady certainty that made her look up. If you wanted money, you wouldn't have stayed by the elevator. You would have run like everyone else. Emma bit her lip. She remembered the whispering workers, the frightened managers, the empty hallway. I just didn't want you to be scared, she said again. No one deserves to be trapped like that. Daniel's eyes softened. You have a kind heart. Emma looked away, embarrassed. Kind hearts don't pay bills, she whispered. And yet, Daniel said gently, they do things money can't. She didn't know what to answer. A knock came on the door. Daniel stood. Come in. His assistant, a tall woman in a fitted suit, entered with a confused expression. Sir, the staff said you brought the janitor to your office. I came to ask if everything was. I don't need anything, Daniel said firmly. Close the door. The assistant blinked, looked at Emma with thinly disguised disbelief, then nodded and left the room. Emma swallowed hard. Sir, people will talk. Let them, Daniel said. They talk anyway. About you, she whispered. I don't want to cause trouble. You saved my life, he said again. You can't cause trouble even if you try. Their eyes met. Something quiet, unfamiliar, and powerful passed between them. Not romance yet. Not love yet. Not attraction yet. Something simpler. Respect. Real, honest respect. Daniel leaned back in his seat. Emma, would you join me for lunch today? She froze. Lunch? With you? Yes. Her stunned silence stretched on. She never ate with anyone important. She never took breaks longer than 5 minutes. She usually ate a small biscuit in the janitor's room when nobody was watching. I don't know if that's allowed, she said in a small voice. It's allowed, Daniel replied. I own the building. Her lips parted, and he smiled faintly. Emma, he added softly, you don't have to say yes. But I'd really like to talk more with you outside this office. Her heart thumped loudly in her chest. Slowly, carefully, she nodded. Okay, Daniel. His name on her lips made his chest tighten for a reason he couldn't explain yet. He stood and opened the office door for her. Great, he said. Then let's go. Emma stepped out of the office. What she didn't know was that the hallway full of workers had been waiting to see who came out first, the CEO or the janitor. And when they saw Daniel walking beside her, heads turned, whispers spread, eyes widened. Something had shifted in the building, something no one understood yet. And it all began with a stuck elevator and a janitor whose courage rewrote everything. Emma walked beside Daniel down the long hallway, feeling every pair of eyes on her. People who never greeted her suddenly stopped talking and stared. One man whispered to his colleague, not softly enough. What is she doing with the CEO? I don't know, the colleague replied. Maybe she broke something. Another woman frowned. Why is she walking beside him like that? Doesn't she know her place? Emma heard some of the words. Each one felt like a small sting. She wanted to shrink, to disappear, to push her cleaning cart between them like a wall. But there was no cart now, only her walking with the richest man in the building. Daniel noticed the looks. He noticed the whispers. He also noticed the way Emma kept her head slightly down, as if trying to hide. He slowed his steps and leaned toward her. "Emma," he said quietly, "look up." She blinked.
"What?"
"Lift your head," he said gently. "You did nothing wrong." She looked at him, uncertain. "I don't want them to get the wrong idea," she whispered. "I don't want them to think I used you." He shook his head. "Let them think what they want," he replied. "Truth doesn't change because of gossip." They reached the elevator that led down to the restaurant floor. This time, it worked perfectly. The doors opened, and they stepped inside. Emma stood near the wall, her fingers lightly pressing into her palms. "Breathe," Daniel said with a small smile. "This one is friendly." She laughed softly despite herself. When the doors opened again, they walked out into a quiet, private part of the building restaurant, an area the regular staff never used. Soft music played. Tables were set with clean white cloth. Waiters stood ready, but even they looked confused to see a janitor there. One of them hesitated. "Good afternoon, sir," he said to Daniel, then glanced at Emma as if unsure. "Will it be just you two?" "Yes," Daniel replied. His tone was calm but firm. "A table by the window, please." They were seated. Emma sat carefully, scared to touch anything. The chair felt too soft, the table too expensive, the plates too neat for someone who usually ate with plastic spoons. A waiter handed them menus. Emma stared at the page. She didn't recognize half the dishes. And the ones she did recognize, she knew she could never afford on her own. Daniel noticed her silence. "Order anything you like," he said kindly. "Don't worry about the price." She shook her head. "I'll just have water," she whispered. He raised an eyebrow. "Emma." She bit her lip. "Okay. Maybe a rice. Just plain rice if they have." He turned to the waiter. "She'll have grilled chicken with rice and vegetables," he said. "And fresh juice." "I'll have the same." When the waiter left, Emma stared at him. "I didn't say chicken," she murmured. "Emma," he replied gently, "when was the last time you ate chicken at lunch?" She thought for a moment. Her silence was the answer. He gave her a warm look. "Let today be different." She looked down, trying to hold the tears that wanted to rise again. "Thank you," she whispered. They sat in silence for a few moments. Not uncomfortable silence, just two people trying to understand how they ended up sharing a table when they once lived in different worlds under the same roof. Emma spoke first. "Why are you doing this?" she asked quietly. "You are the CEO. You're busy. You have important people to meet. Why are you spending your time with me?" He thought about the elevator, about the darkness, about his own fear, about her small voice saying, "I won't leave you." "Because you reminded me of something I forgot," he said slowly. "What is that?" she asked. "That I'm human," he replied. "Not just a CEO. Not just a name on a building. In that elevator, I wasn't powerful. I wasn't rich. I was just a scared man who needed help. And the only person who helped was you." She stared at him, surprised by his honesty. He went on. "I used to be different, you know," he said. "Before all this success. I worked in a small shop as a teenager. I used to sweep floors and carry heavy boxes. People walked past me like I was furniture. Somewhere along the line, when I became successful, I started treating others the same way I was treated." He sighed. "And that's not who I want to be." Emma's heart softened. She had never thought a billionaire could understand how it felt to be invisible. "Maybe," she said quietly, "you forgot how it felt to be on the lower side." He nodded slowly. "Yes. And today you reminded me." Their food arrived, steaming and rich with smell. Emma took slow, careful bites. She closed her eyes briefly. She hadn't tasted food so good in a long time. "This is amazing," she said honestly. "Good," Daniel replied. "You deserve more days like this." She gave a tiny smile. "Days like this don't happen to people like me," she said. "I clean. I send money home. I sleep. I wake. I start again. That's my life." "Maybe," Daniel said softly, "it doesn't have to stay that way." She looked up sharply. What do you mean? He didn't answer yet. Instead, he watched her carefully finishing her meal as if she didn't want to waste one single grain of rice. He saw the way she sat with quiet dignity, even though she felt out of place. He saw the way she thanked the waiter with full respect, even though the waiter barely looked at her. He saw her, truly saw her, and he made a decision. After lunch, Daniel walked her back to the staff floor. At the door near the janitor's room, she paused. Thank you for the food, she said, and for listening, and for treating me like I'm not invisible. You were never invisible, Emma, he said. I was just not looking properly. Her eyes shone with emotion. I should return to work, she said gently. I have a lot of places left to clean. He nodded. All right, go ahead. She turned to leave, pushing her cart out of the storage area, her heart strangely light. Before she walked away, he added, Emma? She looked back. Yes. Clear schedule tomorrow morning, he said. I'll need you in the lobby. Her confusion returned. In the lobby, she asked. For cleaning? He gave a small smile. For something more important. The next morning, the building buzzed with unusual energy. Why did the CEO call everyone to the lobby? Is someone getting fired? Maybe there's a big announcement. Emma arrived earlier than usual, her heart racing faster than her steps. Her supervisor frowned at her. Why are you standing here? He snapped. Did you not hear? The CEO is coming down. Go clean somewhere else. Actually, another voice said from behind him. I asked her to be here. Everyone turned. Daniel was standing at the top of the lobby steps. He was dressed in a dark suit, calm and confident, but his eyes were softer than before. Good morning, he said, his voice echoing through the large space. Good morning, sir, the staff replied. Emma stood at the side, near one of the big columns, unsure of what was happening. She felt small again, like she didn't belong there. Daniel stepped forward. I called everyone here, he began, because something happened in this building yesterday that many of you don't know about. People looked at each other. Yesterday, he continued, I got stuck in one of the elevators. Gasps. Some staff started whispering. The CEO got stuck? When? How? Daniel held up a hand. It was dark. It was quiet. The elevator stopped completely. I called out for help. He paused for a moment. At that moment, I was not a CEO. I was not a billionaire. I was just a man who was scared. The lobby fell completely silent. No one came at first, he said, his voice steady. People ran around, but no one knew what to do. And then someone stepped forward. He turned his head slightly. Emma, he called. Please come here. Emma's heart almost stopped. Her feet refused to move. Someone behind her whispered. What did she do? Is she in trouble? Her hands trembled. But Daniel's eyes were kind. Slowly, she walked from the side of the lobby toward the center, feeling hundreds of eyes following her every step. She reached the front and stood a little distance from him, her shoulders tight, her head slightly lowered. Daniel looked at her with deep respect. This woman, he said clearly, opened the elevator door with her own hands. She used knowledge she learned from her late father. She stayed with me the whole time. She kept me calm. She saved me. People stared at her with new eyes. The staff who insulted her. The managers who looked down on her. The receptionists who laughed about her uniform. All of them. Standing there, she felt exposed and small, but for the first time, she also felt seen. Daniel continued. But Emma did more than save me from a stuck elevator. He took a slow breath. She reminded me of something I forgot, that every person in this building matters. That dignity is not written in a job title. That courage can live in the person you ignore every day. Emma's eyes filled with tears. She blinked fast, but one tear escaped and slid down her cheek. Daniel reached into his jacket and pulled out an envelope. He turned fully to her now. Emma Blake, he said, his voice soft but strong. From today, you are no longer a janitor in this building. Gasps exploded everywhere. Her supervisor's mouth dropped open. Someone actually said out loud, What? Emma's lips trembled. I don't understand, she whispered. He handed her the envelope. With your permission, he said gently, I'd like to offer you a new position, Assistant Facilities Supervisor. You will help oversee building operations, safety checks, and maintenance planning. You've already proven that you are calm in crisis and smart with solutions. Her fingers shook as she took the envelope. Her mind raced. Higher salary. Supervisor position. A chair at meetings. A voice that mattered. But, sir, I don't have big degrees, she said, her voice cracking. I only finished basic school. You have something degrees cannot teach, he replied. Courage. Responsibility. Heart. He turned to the crowd. And from today, I want everyone here to remember, respect is not for sale. It is not only for people in suits. It is for everyone who walks through these doors, including the ones who clean them. Several people lowered their heads in shame. Emma opened the envelope with shaking hands. Inside, she saw details of the new role and the salary. And something else. A letter promising full health insurance coverage for her mother. And a small company apartment she could move into within the month. Her vision blurred with tears. I can't accept this, she whispered. It's too much. Emma, Daniel said softly, I walked out of that elevator alive because of you. This is not too much. He hesitated, then added in a quieter tone meant mostly for her. And this is only the beginning. Her chest swelled with emotion. I don't know how to thank you, she said, voice shaking. Live your life without apologizing for who you are, he replied. That will be thanks enough. The lobby was silent. Then slowly, one person began to clap. Then another. And another. Soon, the entire lobby filled with the sound of hands coming together. For her. For the woman they once ignored. Emma stood there, completely overwhelmed, as applause washed over her like a warm wave. The same people who once looked down on her were now clapping for her bravery. Some faces even showed respect. Real respect. Her supervisor approached her afterward, his voice soft and unsure. Emma, I didn't know. I'm sorry for the way I spoke to you before. She didn't gloat. She didn't mock him. She simply nodded gently and said, It's okay. Let's just work better together from now on. Daniel watched the exchange from a distance, a faint smile touching his lips. He knew this moment would stay with him forever. Not as a CEO who gave a promotion, but as a man who finally understood that the value of a person is never written on their uniform. As the crowd slowly returned to their work, Emma stood in the middle of the lobby, holding the envelope close to her chest. She lifted her face to the high glass ceiling and whispered in her heart, Mom, our life is changing. And somewhere deep inside his own heart, Daniel thought. She opened that elevator door for me, but she opened a bigger door for herself. What happened next didn't just leave the building speechless. It rewrote the way they saw each other. It rewrote Emma's future. And it rewrote Daniel's heart. All because one poor janitor refused to walk away when the most powerful man in the building needed help. That brings us to the end of this video. I hope you find this story worth watching. If you do, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel for more beautiful stories. Like, comment, and share this video to your friends and loved ones. Your support and engagement encourage me to post more videos. Thanks for watching.